Hi, my name is Joseph Wolf. I am a student at Relis A&M. I take classes from A&M Commerce. I have the degree. I'm pursuing a degree in CIS. I currently have an associate's in computer science. I was taking this class under Dr. Hamad. This is a report that we were required to do as part of our final grades. Um, the topic that I chose was cybersecurity for autonomous vehicles. Autonomous vehicles are going to be very important to the world's future, so I thought it was an interesting topic. That is all I have for introductions. Let's get right into it. What is an autonomous vehicle? An autonomous vehicle is a vehicle that operates with decreased interaction from a driver or operator. Now, I know what you're thinking. When I say decreased interaction, when you hear autonomous vehicle, you think Tesla's driving down the road without anybody in charge. People are sleeping in the driver's seat. Well, that's not a fully autonomous vehicle. A fully autonomous vehicle would not require a driver to be at the ready. It would not require a driver at all to be in the vehicle to be autonomous. Fully autonomous, that is. There are levels of autonomy. There's 6 levels actually, but we'll get to that soon. Um, what is the importance of autonomous vehicles? Autonomous vehicles will be the future to sustainable cities. As time goes on, more and more people are moving to cities. Cities are getting more busy, cities are getting bigger population. More people equals more cars, more people need to go places. So there is more traffic, more wrecks, more pollution. Now, with autonomous vehicles, traffic would be down. There would be no reason for, if everybody was driving an autonomous vehicle, there would be no possible way they could crash into each other. There could be no way that congestion could be caused unless there's road work. But that's really the only thing. And at that point, every autonomous vehicle can be diverted a different way. It really is revolutionary. Um, Going back to pollution, autonomous vehicles would really cut back on pollution. The majority of them are electric, and that would be truly great. The world is rapidly decaying, so it would be best that we can make this happen here. Let me go to the next slide. Levels of autonomy. There's 6 levels of autonomy. It goes from no automation all the way to full automation. No automation would be a regular car that you would drive today. You control the steering, acceleration, braking, pretty much everything you would control. The next one would be things like cruise control. The driver would just monitor speed. Partial automation would be the car itself would do steering and acceleration. The driver would just be there to kind of look around and take control if they want to or need to. Conditional automation, it would be able to detect the environment around it. It would be able to avoid road hazards, things like that. Even less human assistance, but a human override is still required and needed at that point. High automation would be human override is still a thing. The vehicle will perform all tasks that it needs to, but have to be a driver there just in case things go really wrong. Full automation would be there would be 0 human intention or interaction required. That means that the car could drive itself to where it needs to go without a human being in the car. That is full automation. Not many vehicles are at that yet. It takes a lot of testing and learning. So, dangers of autonomous vehicles. Autonomous vehicles require a lot of hardware and software to operate. And we're not even at full automation yet. Hackers taking control of any number of things, such as sensors. There are sensors all over the car to detect. There's motion sensors, there's light sensors, color sensors. There's many sensors all over the car to detect the environment around it. There's cameras. They also do the same thing sensors do, but a different way. Microphones, they exist in the car. Bluetooth, CarPlay, things like that, Siri. So you kind of have to think about the microphone's always listening for you to say, "Hey Siri," so the microphone's always recording, and then you gotta get into the whole thing of, did I give consent to this car taking some of my information and storing it, whether it is storing it or not. So a hacker could take control of a microphone and hear everything you say and hold that over your head. Little ransom thing. They can control the steering, obviously terrible. They could crash your car, engine. They could cut your car off. Brakes, same thing. Cut your car off. LiDAR. That's the light detection on top of the car. Again, same thing with sensors and cameras. LiDAR is kind of a sensor. But it's a little different. So that's the same thing. They could take control of that and make your car think that it is good to go straight into a wall. What has been done? The U.S. is actually one of the leading countries in this, which is very surprising. The U.S. is very behind on a lot of things concerning cybersecurity, but for this, they seem to be kind of ahead. The EU also does very well, less for software and hardware. The EU is more focused on the privacy implications of autonomous vehicles, and I think that's very interesting that they care less about I don't know if they care less, but the government body of the EU is more concerned about the privacy, which is a concern. Japan, Germany, South Korea, and Australia, I point them out because they have no specific comments, regulations, legislation towards autonomous vehicles, which is strange. 10 years ago, yes, it wouldn't have been that strange, but people are driving around in level 4, level 5 autonomous vehicles. So it's I'm sure they're doing it in Japan, Germany, South Korea, and Australia as well. Teslas are all over the world, so I don't imagine that this will be an ongoing thing. I'm sure it will be corrected soon. All it'll take is a crash, is a car crash in Japan, and Germany, South Korea, and Australia. And be like, well, we need to do something about this, but they haven't yet. There's also like standard cybersecurity measures. So like penetration testing is carried out on the cars. There's locks on the cars. You need a key to start the car. All that kind of stuff. The key starting the car is a cybersecurity measure because when your key starts the car, it opens up your settings, all that kind of stuff. So you call that that's like a key to a server cabinet. What can be done? There's a lot that can be done. Government regulations are usually the best way to set up a security baseline. People cut corners. People make things to make money. So if they can make more money doing less penetration testing here, doing less here, doing less here, they'll probably do it. Not everybody's like that. It's kind of a jaded way to look at the world, but I would cut corners if I had to. But anyways, government regulations they're usually the best way to do that because you have to listen to the government, so it's best that everybody's working at a baseline of good security. More legislation being passed specifically targeting autonomous vehicles. There's a lot of legislation that was amended that just says also this applies to autonomous vehicles, but that's not really very helpful because there are some things concerning autonomous vehicles that, smartphones and autonomous vehicles are different. They record different things. Government legislation being passed requires special training courses. There's some talk in some of the research papers that I looked at that suggested that operators and mechanics of these autonomous cars should require special training courses and have a special driver's license, which they don't right now. On the software side, more specific software securities could be used to help protect. The use of machine learning to spot abnormal behavior in the vehicle caused by an intruder or bug. So, um, sorry, the car. Sorry about that. The car knows that it's at a stoplight and then it suddenly reverses. If using machine learning, it would be able to spot that abnormal behavior and correct it. The use of autonomous vehicles communication to increase the accountability of the vehicle's positioning system. So the autonomous vehicles that are driving could communicate back and forth with each other and exchange information, allowing them to better see the environment around them and can tell when something is messing with their um, positioning and view. Lastly, we have physical security. You could improve the physical security. Right now, you just need the key, really, which is not so easily replicated, but it can be. There's also some way with these new push to start and with key fobs. There are some ways with magnets. You could pick locks. There are a lot of ways into cars. Rainey, James Rainey, wrote a paper, and in his paper, he suggested that we use iris recognition, which is taking a picture of your eye while lasers are lighting it up, and using that as a sort of passcode. I agree that biometrics could be used for autonomous vehicles. It's very hard to reproduce, very hard to trick. And I mean, it's not like a password where you can lose or forget. You always have that key, quote unquote, to get in your car. I would suggest to use facial recognition over iris recognition. Yes, iris recognition is a little bit better than facial recognition, but facial recognition is much more widely used in smartphones. Most cameras can use facial recognition, so using iris recognition might just be kind of a leap at the moment until it is a much more